G'day everyone. Today we're going to go through how to change out the front brake pads on this 2020 ZL Mitsubishi Outlander. It has the single piston sliding caliper design that we find on heaps of manufacturers for many years on many models. And the good news is it is the same no matter what single piston sliding caliper you have. The idea to change out these pads and inspect the braking system is the same. The first thing we're going to do is get the car onto solid level ground. We're going to chock the rear wheels and we're going to jack it up off the ground, much like this, and make sure we put it on an axle stand as well, just for that extra safety. We'll take all the wheel nuts off using a rattle gun in this case. If you don't have a rattle gun, crack them by hand with a bar first when the wheel is on the ground. And we can see here we have our single piston sliding caliper. They use a single piston and the caliper will slide backwards and forwards in order to give equal clamping force to the brake disc. We're going to have a quick look at the brake disc here and we can see there is no big lip and it doesn't look like we have any warpage, cracking or any heat spots either. So I'm okay to reuse this disc. But we'll give the disc a measure anyway and we'll check the run out because we can, but I'm pretty confident these rotors will go again. Now we have two small bolts here. This is a 14mm socket I'm using, top and bottom, that hold the caliper in place. We're only going to remove the bottom one and you can see it has a thread at the base of the bolt and it's covered in grease and it acts like a pin. We'll clean that grease off and replenish it, but it's nice to see that the grease is in good health. We can then pivot the caliper out of the way to give us access to the brake pads. Now from here we can inspect the inboard and the outboard brake pads. You can see I've got new ones, of course, to fit, but the old ones on this are actually pretty good. The car's done 100,000 Ks and I definitely thought they'd be more worn. But lucky for us, they're worn nice and square, they're worn evenly, and I'm not seeing any issues at all. If we were to find that one, maybe the inboard, was worn more than the other, we might suggest that the slide isn't sliding across and the braking is happening more on the piston side. And if they're worn at an angle, it may suggest that one of the slides isn't working and the caliper is working on an angle, wearing the brakes unevenly. So have a look at that. If there's uneven wear on the pads, have a look at the slide. It may suggest there are issues there. You can see here the new and the old pads together. The old ones have an inboard and outboard that are slightly different with these backing plates. And we can see there's also a wear indicator on the inboard brake pad. The wear indicator will rub against the disc and make a lot of noise when the pad is worn to the minimum thickness. Now, of course, these new ones are identical to each other, but we do need to fit a new wear indicator that comes with the pads onto the inboard pad only. So we can fit that like that. You can see it's exactly the same as the one we've removed in the same position. And we have a plate here that goes on the outboard brakes. Now you may need to use that on your brakes. In this case, we don't. These pads are designed not to need that and it doesn't fit anyway, but you may need to transfer that to your new pads. Just have a look and make sure that if you need it, you can move it across. We'll have a quick measure of the disc and make sure it at least meets the minimum thickness. And you can see here, we can check run out if we have a dial indicator and mag base, give the wheel a bit of a spin and the dial shouldn't move a lot. It might move over some contamination and stuff, but we're not looking at a lot of warpage. You'd probably know if there's warpage first anyway, because you'd feel it in the brake pedal when you bring the car in or prior to changing out the brakes. Now checking the slides here, you can see on the other side of the car, in this case, you can actually remove that top slide without undoing the bolt. Of course, you can loosen it and undo it like I've done here, but you can just slide it out. We can clean any old grease off and we can replenish that grease with some new lubricant to make sure that that slide will be functioning properly until the next time we service these brakes. Have a look at the boot as well. Make sure there's no splits or cracks or anything like that that's going to let the grease out. Because if anything like that happens, we may have uneven brake wear and the brakes won't work properly if the slide isn't free and sliding easily. I'm putting a little bit of rubber lube on this pin here. Any type of lube that's specified for brakes or rubber is normally pretty good. I'm a fan of this rubber lube. It works pretty well. And of course, we just put enough on not to hydraulic it and make sure it slides backwards and forwards quite easily. And just like that, it does. Now next we need to retract the piston in order to allow for the new brake pads that are much thicker than the old ones. I'm just using an old pad here and a G-clamp to push the piston all the way home. If it's a rear brake and it has a park brake internally inside it, you may need to twist the piston, but at the fronts, they should easily just retract. Of course, as we retract them, we need to make sure that the brake fluid isn't going to overflow. Of course, we're putting more brake fluid in the reservoir by retracting the piston. And in my case, I did have to suck a little bit of brake fluid out of the reservoir because as I retracted the piston, it did get very full. Once we've done that, we can take these slides out and just make sure that these pieces of pressed tin that basically the brakes will slide on and they fit and retain the brakes, make sure they're clean and they're not broken, there's no holes worn in them, and just make sure there's no debris around or behind them. They pop out pretty easily. Just make sure, remember which way they go back in. You can clean them off with a brake cleaner or a rag, whatever you need to clean them off. And in my case, they weren't too dirty. Just make sure the slides are nice and clean and clear, nothing's worn through, and you can pop them back in to do another service life. With those back in, it's time to fit the brake pads. Of course, we have the wear indicator on the inboard brake pad. We just pop the bottom in or the top into those slides and then pop the opposite side in. It should fit and hold in nice and easily. Of course, the outboard brake pad as well, they'll only go in one way. Make sure them locating tabs are sitting in them slides and everything is where it should be. You can put a little bit of grease on them slides, the top and bottom little keyways, and you can put a little bit of grease on the back of the face that touches the piston and touches the inside of the caliper, just to make sure they don't squeak or squeal while you're using them. For me, I'm not really too bothered. I don't think they're going to make any noise, and if they do, I can jump in there and add a bit. But if you need to, a little bit of grease on the keyways and a little bit of grease on the face of the pad will stop any squeaking and squealing and should also help them move nice and freely. Of course, we've got the bottom pin and we're going to clean all that old grease off the pin. Make sure the pin isn't worn or anything weird's going on. And then we can add a little bit of our rubber grease to that pin as well. And just make sure we put just enough on that we don't hydraulic it. We don't want to put heaps on at the end. We just want to make sure we lubricate it enough until it reaches the next service. We're just going to put a little bit on the pin. We can put a little bit inside the boot as well if we need to, and make sure we locate the boot with a pin. We don't want to split it or damage the boot. Of course, there you go. We can see that it's threaded into the back of the caliper. The boot looks good. The bolt is where it should be. We can go ahead and wind it in. In this case, I'm going to take the bolt out the top. On the other side, I left it in the caliper. On this side, I'm going to take it all the way out, give it a good clean. You can see it's a little bit different to the bottom one. It has a little bit of a locking rubber at the back there. The top and bottom are different. Just make sure they go back where they came from. Now we're going to torque them up to 35 foot-pounds, which is about 47.5 Newton meters. Top and bottom, make sure we double check them, go over them as much as possible at 35 foot-pounds. Of course, I'm going to do left and right. I've done both brakes in this vehicle. You always change your brakes as a set. So I'm going to do left and right. We're going to torque them up. We're going to double check them at 35 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench, of course, make sure they're tight and not over tight. I highly recommend use a torque wrench for this part of the job because it's important to get it accurate. Once we've got them all torqued up, we can pump the brake a few times till it goes hard to make sure we extend those pistons and then recheck our reservoir that we haven't fallen below the level mark, because of course, as we extend the pistons, we're going to consume brake fluid. Now, I've buffed up the face of that disc. You can take them off if you need to, but in my case, I can buff around the studs. It's no big deal. And I've also buffed the mounting spigot that the brake sits on. And of course, I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on that to make sure the wheel doesn't get stuck on the hub. It shouldn't do. These are alloy wheels, but if you have steel wheels or you feel like you live in a corrosive environment, make sure you put some anti-seize on that hub. And I've also buffed the face of the wheel just a little bit, nothing too abrasive, to get rid of any corrosion so it mounts nice and square. We can put the wheel back on, put all our wheel nuts on, and I'm going to run them in, not tight. We're just going to run them in evenly to make sure the wheel is square. And then I'm going to torque the wheel up, and I'm torquing the wheel up here to 75 to 80 foot-pounds. I think I did 80 foot-pounds, a little bit higher. Just make sure we check each wheel nut, both left and right in the vehicle, and go around them as much as possible. Take the car for a drive and recheck them. Just make sure they're at 75 to 80 foot-pounds. The wheel back on, take the car for a drive, bread the brakes in, and make sure the pedal feels right. And of course, recheck the fluid reservoir after you've driven the car for a little bit. That will drop as the brakes bed in and as they wear down. Just keep an eye on the level. Other than that, thank you very much for watching.